So prior to COVID-19, the anti-vaxxers were blaming the vaccines for all of the triggers for cancer, disease, chronic illness, pre-existing conditions, for death. And now the anti-vaxxers are reaching us by saying that if you ever had a flu shot, you're probably going to get COVID-19. And they're saying that viruses can't be caught, they can only be injected. I'm telling you, RFK is working overtime trying to figure out how to blame the vaccines in some way, shape, or form. You know what the real problem is? Is that the allopathic holistic world has not taught people how to nourish their bodies correctly. You know what the real problem is that parents are not teaching their kids because they don't know, because they're getting their information from the allopathic holistic medical holistic industry on shortcuts and playing the discrimination game and the avoidance game. And so kids sustain the predispositions and the weaknesses, and then they learn how to take shortcuts and accept death, and they pass it on to their next generation. So before COVID-19, it was a mystery to some people. Oh yeah, it's in my genetic history. Okay, you have predispositions, or you have breast cancer in your family, you have heart disease in your family. All right, I'm going to get it. And it becomes an accepted thing. When it triggers, people don't understand when it triggers. Why doesn't it trigger right off the bat? Why doesn't a heart attack, if you have predispositions of a heart attack or heart disease in your family, why doesn't it trigger as soon as you're born and then you die? Why does it trigger at certain points in your lifetime? And why others don't ever get the symptoms of heart disease? Or maybe they get symptoms of, like, let's say they have a tumor, or no, not tumor. They have a growth. They have a benign tumor of breast tissue in their breast tissue, but they don't ever get breast cancer. Why is that? Well, because I've seen that in a family where someone died of breast cancer, another person got a scare with a benign tumor, and they took it out, and then they also now have a very different diet than their mother. They're totally vegan and vegetarian, maybe eats chicken and fish, so not totally vegan, but stays away from sugar, stays away from salt. They stay away from all these different things. And yes, they're relatively healthy compared to the people in their age group, but they don't have any fat to their body. And they're afraid of sugar, they're afraid of salt, they have circulatory issues. And being exposed to a virus like this is only going to trigger their predispositions. So why is it that sometimes it triggers later on in life, sometimes it triggers at all, doesn't trigger at all? And that's based upon, obviously, the health of the body and how aggressive that virus is, as well as then their exposure to vaccines. Okay? If you allow your body to get that bad to where you're not taking the proper necessary discrimination methods in the allopathic holistic world, and you then don't get any vaccines, and you just pretend that nothing ever bad exists, and then you get exposed to something like this coronavirus, yeah, you're going to see people drop like flies. So now that we know that this coronavirus is the catalyst to now every single predisposition coming to surface, now you know what you have to do. It's pretty black and white. Yeah, you could take antivirals, but it's only going to suppress your immune system and leave you more open for more viruses, more aggressive, mutated coronaviruses to come in. Or you could do the natural antibiotics and play that game again and leave yourself open, causing more of a cytokine storm. Antibody storm, or you can do the J juice and release the excess antibodies and fix the cells at the micro level so it translates to the macro level. And yeah, you're going to have to deal with your predispositions because you're going to have to deal with it anyways. So now it's not really a mystery anymore. why people are dropping like flies, why people are contracting cancer, why they're having exacerbation in their cancer right now, why they are seeing more heart attacks and strokes. So maybe you don't die from a heart attack or a stroke, you survive it. But now why do those triggers? Because of the coronavirus. It's all because of this new virus. So if you have a cold or a flu or any kind of anything, you might test negative for the coronavirus, but it doesn't mean the coronavirus didn't influence your predispositions. You just don't have a lot of antibodies. I mean, you can test positive for a flu virus, test negative for the coronavirus. Doesn't mean the coronavirus didn't influence that the symptoms. You just didn't test positive for the coronavirus, but you've been exposed to it. It's a factor. And when you actually test positive for it, it means that it's a major factor. You're so communicable that you can't help but shed antibodies from that CV. So, yeah, this is just so freaking, I'm just like, I don't know. This is so fascinating. I'm telling you, I am so fascinated by this whole, what's going on in this world right now. I mean, it is a trip to watch people. It's a trip to watch how they react. It's a trip to watch how much they deny. It's a trip to watch how people embrace my information too, because I think that's amazing. There's people like me, and I thought I was alone in this world, but I'm not. You know, it really, it's such a trip. So no matter how grim statistics are, no matter how it's sucking to watch your friends and family go through what they got to go through, it's necessary. Okay? Every single thing that happens is a learning experience, and it's necessary, and it's an example of either what to do or what not to do. And so, you know, I just can't help but be fascinated by even how the officials are reacting to this. I mean, to test everybody, to say, okay, we're going to put money into testing, put money into these antivirals, put money into these vaccines. And yet we have something like the jelly juice that is so inexpensive and that it's not deadly. It's not antibiotic. Why they wouldn't even explore this? Why people that on my Facebook who are promoting other people, they're saying, oh, we found the missing link, the missing bacteria, the missing this, and they don't even promote my information. So I have befriended some people that are promoting these other doctors are saying that you can't catch a virus, it's injected, and they're promoting all of these. I've released some of it, not everybody, but I've released some that are promoting everyone but me. Because I don't understand why you promote someone that I don't know. It trips me out, especially being exposed to this information. But I find the ignorance out there is very, very interesting. That people will go to great lengths to promote their agenda that, you know, the vaccine industry is trying to kill them. No, they had a place. They have a place. Not everybody can handle the vaccines, but vaccines have a place, and they have saved lives. You know, I mean, if the alternative is death, then I would rather get a vaccine than die. But I think anyone would say that, right? But then how do you know? How do you know if you're going to be the one that's going to, you know, survive a vaccine? Well, that's where the doctors come in and say, okay, you know, how many predispositions? What kind of vital organ issues do you have? Could you handle this viral load? Do we need to space them more apart? I mean, those are all the arguments out for those that don't want to say they're anti-vaxxers or physicians for informed consent, or they're more for spacing them apart, not all at once. And I can see those arguments as viable. But it's just a trip. I don't know, right now it's 420. Today is 420. Today everyone's getting high and suppressing their immune system and leaving themselves open. And yeah, we're going to see now a lot more cases of CV going on with all these people who are getting high and destroying their lungs. Wow. All right. Welcome to the New World Order.